I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that it's not just a case of, putting their fingers in their ears and being kind of in denial about the whole situation and burying their heads in the sand. I would go as far as to say so many of them at the highest levels of our establishment are complicit in the way things are unfolding and are an active part of that. We see, I mean, yeah, we can pick out any, single crisis here that's affecting, let's say, somebody of my age, but the general wider public, and particularly the working class Brits who feel extremely disenfranchised at the moment. But when you hear cases of, a man come over from Sudan and he's immediately given a studio flat in a nice part of London, and then you get people who are my age who are struggling to ever get on the property ladder, and then the next thing you hear is he's brought his whole family here on the taxpayer's expense, and he's been shifted to a 4-bedroom house where there is a single woman fleeing domestic violence who's British, born here, lived her whole life, and he gets placed in front of her. I mean, that's exactly what happened with an Afghan family. And it caused a bit of a stir here. But this case I just gave you of like the man from Sudan, this is the news I wake up to every single day, where people like myself are, waking up at the early hours, coming back late, working hard for most of your life, struggling to put a pension together that you can survive on. And the government just seems to take and take and take. And, you say things like, it would take a level of competency. Honestly, Horace, it's not that difficult. I've heard the politicians who are kind of, waiting to come into power to just, there's a couple of things that you can do which would immediately, overnight rectify the situation. And I'm talking about things like, leave the ECHR. You've got the human rights law, and you've got that already to be enacted into British law. We don't need to look to Europe to safeguard the human rights of these people who are the perpetrators of mass rape gangs of white British girls. Why do we care about their human rights? It's because Europe tells us to care about their human rights. There's, again, similar steps like that to control your border force. How difficult is it? We saw Trump come to power, and we saw how tightly he was able to manage the immigration flow into America. The same thing is very much possible here. We're an island nation